Well, our human nature is such, again, I feel like a comedian that doesn't have good transitions between jokes, right? Because it's like we have a whole list of things that are these practices. But, our human nature is such that we notice when things go wrong. And if things go the way we want them to or expect them to, we tend to just take it for granted, right? It melts in the background. So if I ask you about your day yesterday or your week, right, we tend to think of the negative things. So of course, to promote flourishing or well-being, resilience, whatever the case might be, we want to somehow fight that tendency and do something to turn things around. So you might have heard of the practice called 3 Good Things. It was developed by Martin Seligman, who we saw his book earlier. When it first came out, it was making the rounds in terms of talk shows and that kind of thing. But basically, you choose 3 things that went well today. They can be very, very small. And you reflect on what each one was, and then what was your role in creating it. So again, you can say, okay, well, let's see. Today, I got to watch my child play soccer. My role in that was that I made sure I wrapped up, my meeting by a certain time and, got this done so that I could get in the car and make sure I got there on time. There's one. But it can be something small. It can be something like, oh, I had a hot shower this morning. And my role in that is that I'm a responsible person. I pay the bills. I make sure that, but there's always something to be grateful for or that went well. It's just that, again, we take those things for granted, right? And then again, the research behind it says that they've toyed with different times that you would do this, and doing it right before going to sleep has the biggest impact. So I've heard people say, oh, we sort of do something like this around the dinner table as a family. We talk about what went well today. And that's great, I'm not saying, but there's something powerful about doing it right before you fall asleep. And so folks who have a roommate, a significant other, they'll often say, well, let's do this together as part of our nighttime routine. And that way, I hear your 3 good things, you hear mine, it keeps us on track, and we do that right before we go to bed. And they initially thought you had to do it for 14 straight days to have long-term benefits. They've since found that 7 seems to be just as good. I've heard those speakers talk, and they say the hard part is getting people to do it or stick with it on the weekends because your routine is different than it is during the week. But if you can get folks to do it for at least 7 days or more. But many times, once folks do it that long, they continue to do it regardless because it gets easier, but also because they start to see some of the benefits or feel some of the benefits. And I think in my mind, one reason that it gets easier is because now I sort of am on awareness throughout the day in terms of like, oh, that could be one of my 3 good things. And notice how that changes our mindset to notice and pay attention and be present when something is positive, as opposed to just trying to put out fires and get through the day and get to the end of the day and feel like, wow, that was, exhausting. So hopefully this one doesn't sound quite as hokey as the values clarification. Yes, no, trying to read faces. So I have had people, how many folks have tried something like this, or gratitude journals? Yeah, see, it's popular, yeah. Did you keep doing it, or is it a practice? Yeah, that's good, nice.